I'm a fan of subgenres. I think that people tend to look very warily or suspiciously at writers who are using subgenre terms because they see them as border policing. But I sort of think it's, at risk of sounding like the NRA, it's not about the subgenres, it's about the bad writers who use them to serve their arrogant writing. A lot of writers tend to act as if it's only when artists or acts sort of move beyond a particular narrowly defined area of music that they're suddenly great. You know, Radiohead transcend the boundaries of rock and electronic music, blah, blah, blah.
They also transcend the boundaries of listenable.
At times they do. But I actually think a lot of the time the value of music is by remaining within very narrowly defined sort of parameters. And I always think of dancehall in this regard, which you always know a dancehall track when you hear it. It's instantly identifiable, and in that sense it's almost generic. But at the same time, the music can have Chinese flutes, Middle Eastern accordions, techno riffs, guitar samples from rock songs, and the songs can swipe from everything from Eye of the Tiger to like Ding Dong Merrily on High. And that's a really good thing, and it's only possible because the makers of the music feel so confident that what they're doing is dancehall no matter what.
Your reference to the idea of remaining within the constraints and making something interesting within the confines of that genre actually make me think more of discipline rather than just genre. If you say, I am a thrash metal band, which I'm not, just for the record, although I really should be. If I were to say I am a thrash metal band, it is saying not so much I belong to a certain set of people, even though that is also implied. It implies you are true to this discipline of metal.
Like fidelity.
Yes, because the discipline of guitar playing inherent in thrash is obviously not going to apply to black metal, although you can have elements of both. What it refers to is that tradition and lineage and that the notion of fidelity. But what frustrates me about the whole subgenre situation is the way artists get so genuinely frustrated when they feel they're being pigeonholed. It's not actually a bad thing.
Yep.
It's just a helpful guide. Like, if you want to just be described as uncategorizable, uncontained awesome.
I think that's the equivalent of doing a series of paintings all called Untitled. Untitled 23, Untitled for Humanity. From our perspective as writers, though, I mean, how far is too far? I mean, for the people playing at home, it's sort of the difference between saying dance music and, say, maybe micro house or something else or Italo disco.
Well, I think we've got a great example that we can sort of flash up.
We do, a metal example, believe it or not.
Be forced to explain the sheer proliferation.
Well, this is the Wikipedia upload of metal genealogy, and it gives you an idea of the number of branches and sub-branches. That's not a comprehensive genealogy, by the way. I gave it a cursory glance, and it certainly isn't. But it is so intensely useful for anyone, whether you're familiar or not, because I think it's difficult to understand how metal can encompass poison and mayhem. But once you have a genealogy, then there is a sense to this, and you can respect the notion of the umbrella concept. But if I was to approach house music, I would genuinely appreciate subgenre names. Otherwise, I would have no idea what I'm dealing with. It's like, I'm not going to go to a restaurant and say, "Can you just give me, like, meat?" I want to have some concept of what I'm, essentially buying into. What I'm buying into in a sense of time.
But it's useful when they explain to you what the French word in the menu actually is, so that you're not going, "I'll just have this," and then it comes out and like,
that's your job as the writer. That's where we
it's about the writing, and it's about forging connections and using subgenre terms to allow you to do that.